Okay, this is the lecture for chapter 2 of our book, Human Nutrition. And in this lecture, short version of the lesson, we will describe very quick the key principles of healthy eating. And we will focus the presentation mainly on the tools that you have for planning a healthy diet. So let's talk about the key principles of healthy eating. Well, a healthy diet is a diet that incorporates balance, diversity, and moderation. So you need to have a healthy proportion of all nutrients and also adequate in energy. How do you know what is a healthy proportion of the nutrients and how much energy do you need? That's something that we will talk today, and that's why this is underlined. Diversity, because you need to incorporate a variety of foods. That's where you have more chances to get all nutrients. Suppose that you every day you eat the same vegetable or just milk, so you are limiting the nutrients that you have. In contrast, if you have a diversity of vegetables and fruits and other different type of meats, etc., you have more chances of getting all the vitamins or the minerals that you need in addition to carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. And then moderation is also related to this adequate in energy that we were talking before. So you need to have enough amount of the nutrients, but not excessive amount of all foods and nutrients. So for example, many people focus on proteins, so you need to have enough amount of proteins, but too much also could be dangerous. So you need to know the right proportion. And in this particular principle, it's very important, you are advised to eat or to focus mainly on foods that are nutrient dense and reduce those that are energy dense. And what does this mean? Well, a nutrient dense food is a food that is generally high in nutrients and low in calories. So it's a measure of the nutrients compared to the calorie content. They generally are also low in fat and low in sugar that are not natural. For example, fruits versus donuts and chips. Fruits are more nutrient dense than donuts and chips. The reason you will have more nutrients in your food, in your fruits, like minerals, vitamins, etc., and you don't have added sugars in it. Some foods are high in calorie and still they are considered nutrient dense because of their content of nutrients. For example, avocado, it has a lot of fat, but it also has minerals and vitamins. Peanut butter is high in protein, but still it also has a lot of fat and also high in protein, so will give you calories. So you must consume them in moderation. And also it's important to notice that two versions of the same food can have different calorie nutrient contents. So you can increase the calories depending on how do you prepare this food. And one example is potato chips versus baked potato. You will have the same nutrient content in terms of minerals and vitamins, but if you fry the potato, then you will have more calories in it due to the presence of fats or the fats that you use, the oil that you use for frying the potato. Energy dense foods, and you are advised to reduce this type of foods or to limit this type of foods or consume them in moderation, are high in calories. So this is like a measurement of the calorie compared to the weight of the food. So it's better to eat low energy dense food, even though you have to care about your having an intake adequate in calories. For example, if you have a salad, you will have a salad that will be large in volume. You will feel full because the stomach senses volume, and then still is low in calorie. And it's also very nutrient dense because you will have a lot of minerals and vitamins. Most high fat foods are energy dense because they contain a lot of fats, and fats, as you know, have the highest calorie content. It means 9 calories per gram in comparison to carbs and proteins that have 4 calories per gram. In chapter 5, we will see that it's not only the amount of calories what cares, it's also the amount of the type of fats. Some fats are healthier than others. About the resources for planning a healthy diet, in your book you have 5 of them. Those at the bottom of the screen are in gray color or lighter color because we are not covering them in the lecture. Let's talk about this. Sorry. About these recommendations. These are really 6 values that has been obtained by studying populations. We will cover here 4 of them. The 2 first, the RDA and the UL, are related to the amount of nutrients. It means how many grams of carbs do you need? How many grams of protein? How many glasses of water do you need in one day? These values depend on age, gender, and life stage or conditions. For example, it's not the same for a woman, same age, if the woman is pregnant or a non-pregnant woman. So the needs will be different. The first value, RDA, is the average daily intake that is supposed to meet the needs of most people. It means 97 to 98% of the people. The upper level of UL, or total level or upper intake level, as the name tells you how much is too much. So what is the highest amount that you can't eat more than that, because you will be then in risk of toxicity. So in other words, how much is too much? So the RDA, again, it tells you how much a given nutrient like water, carbs, lipids, etc. you need. How much calcium do you need in one day? The other 2 values we will learn are more related to number of calories. So instead of talking about how many grams do you need for a given nutrient, it tells you how many calories do you need, or how many calories should come from carbs, from proteins, or from fats. The first value, EER, tells you how many calories do you need, a person of your age, your gender, and your level of activity needs. In other words, how many calories do you need? This value will depend on age, gender, height, weight, and activity level. So in another chapter, more towards the end of the semester, we will be doing a calculation to obtain an accurate number. Right now, at this very beginning of the semester, we won't care about the measurements of your body. We will just care about age, gender, and activity level. And still the value you get, even if it's not accurate, it's very close to the actual value that you will see at the end of the semester. So for example, let's suppose you are a female and you are 28 years old. So 28 years old is this age range, and then female, you try to find your value here, and there are 3 options depending on your level of activity. If you are a person that are not doing any exercise at all, then you choose this one. For example, I consider myself moderately active. The other value, and the last one we will learn, again, I say 4 out of 6 values, is this AMDR. This tells you what is the right proportion of energy yield nutrients as percentage of the total in terms of calories. It means how many calories from the total, from this 2,200 calories that you should eat in your day, how many calories should come from fats, from carbs, or from proteins? To the recommendations, about half of the calories should come from carbs, 20 to 35% from fats, and 10 to 35% from proteins. I know that many people following the ketogenic diet will disagree with these values. I call your attention that even though it says that half of the calories should come from carbs, it's important also the type of carbs that you eat, and we will see this in chapter 4. So it's not on, you should focus on complex carbohydrates. Also, of course you can decrease this a little bit and increase fats. That's what the people do with the ketogenic diets, but this is not something that you do your whole life every day. So that's why you do it for period of times. So according to the recommendation, you need to keep the glucose levels, you need to guarantee the glucose levels to sustain the activity of your brain and to avoid going into ketosis. And then that way is by doing half of your diet should come from calories, should come from carbohydrates. In the previous lecture, chapter 1, we did some calculations. So I won't complete these calculations here. I will add a link to this video also in the page for this video on YouTube. The second part of the lecture is more about food labels and the fact panel in the food label. I will stop here and then I will create another YouTube video with this second portion of the lecture.